Welcome to another digital tourism show, and I have the pleasure to be joined with Cavid Nadirov of Get Guided. And in this video, we will be discussing various business models within tourism, including can a subscription model work within the tourism sector? Well, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to see you again.
You too, you too. I think Arrival was the last time we saw each other, which was
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah. And if anyone has never been to Arrival within Tours and Activities, highly recommend it. It's such a great event. The speakers, the workshops, just being able to meet other tour operators and suppliers and OTAs, and it's just a fantastic event.
I think ITB and WTM, they're trying to get into Tours and Activities. But it's both of them are just way too big for people to care about tours and activities just yet. Whereas Arrival is just precisely for tours and activities, and you get your peers and people discussing all the topics you need to know. Yeah,
definitely. I can't agree more. Love the event. So, Cavid approached me in terms of what we could discuss today, and one of the topics that you brought to me was could a subscription model and various other business models work within tourism, and I thought, so this is just going to be an open discussion, just going to be candid, nothing's been scripted here, we've basically just sat down, stuck the video on and thought, let's just see what comes of it. So, subscription models.
So the idea, when I wrote you, I mean, if you know what we do, we try a lot of different things. So people look at it as an OTA, but we don't use the word OTA, the word platform, specifically because the way we approach the tours and activities market, and that makes us think what we can do more. Especially with the latest discussions of OTAs versus direct, when people say they don't want to mark up too much and they don't want to be dependent on the OTA market. So we were thinking what can be done. One of the ideas basically was subscription model, but then their own limitations, who can do it and who cannot do it, and what other models, if not subscription, what other models can work.
It's a really interesting topic. I think the one thing that comes to mind is it would work for every type of tours and activities business, but one it could possibly work for is, say, obviously a day tour or like a bus tour, for example. So the first bus tour company that comes to my mind is Grey Line. So if you can imagine someone being a subscription model, or Sandemann's, whatever, for example, it's almost like being a VIP member, so it would allow people to subscribe. This would be more for sort of frequent flyers or frequent travellers, obviously. So if someone was in Paris,
travelling the world.
Travelling the world. So if someone was backpacking, it would work well for that. Someone was in Paris, for example, they can just jump on a hop on, hop off because they've got a sort of VIP membership card that they can.
I know one of the OTAs. They opened the office in Glasgow. When I met them, they said they have frequent travellers, and some of them will spend thousands and thousands of pounds booking tours everywhere they go with the same company because they know the quality. So there it can, for example, Sandemann's like a company, they can do subscription for backpackers and kind of a budget travellers, whereas some higher end companies can also do for higher end travelers. Let's say if you're a millionaire and you're traveling with the world with your family, you may love this model. On ITB, Sandemann's was doing this presentation, and they actually introduced these loyalty cards, like in the cafes with the stamps. So they're kind of moving in that direction. Not exactly yet, but I think they're people start to analyze different models.
Well, obviously the airlines have done that for a long time in terms of getting frequent flyer sort of miles and things like that. So if there was something within tourism along those sort of lines as well, I think would work really well.
Yeah, B2C it can work. But I don't think there will be a huge take. People, I mean, first of all, you have to be in lots of destinations. You cannot be one destination and subscription. It just doesn't work for B2C. Second of all, you have to have a day trips or day fixed departures every day at the set times at the same quality, same program. So people know that if they go with a subscription card, they will be served in that destination. And third of all, you have to have a system where it manages all the how many people attend, if there's so there's no overbooking happens. Yeah,
that was the one aspect of it, because for me, if it was a subscription model, it has to be something more of a benefit. Obviously, it's going to save time for people. Just if they were on a bus tour, for example, they should be able just to walk on the bus and go, here's my VIP card, my membership, and all my subscription, and just do the tour without having to sort of book in advance. But there is the logistics of Is the bus going to be full? Is there going to be seats available? That type of thing. So that is
another thing, especially with the walking tours. What if, like, let's say if you're a tour company and your customer is not happy, most of the time you return the money. I mean, we do full guarantee return. We just research, and then if there's the real quality was not there, we will return it. And I know a lot of companies do that. How are you going to do the subscription if customers are not happy? Do you get the subscription model, like 1 month free, or what are you going to do there? And also how are you going to price? I think the best example of it is there was a movie pass when they went bankrupt because people were using their membership and getting just lots of movies, so it was unprofitable at all. It was draining the money. What if people just go and use tours a lot, or they give the card to their family members? How are you going to check that? So there's another logistical issue.
I suppose it could be a photograph card or something like that. No, it's like a passport, as it were.
Digital card.
But I suppose there's always going to be an element of that. Now, if you look at, if you get a cinema membership, which is just a monthly membership, and I think this could only work monthly. No, you can't be tied into a long-term contract or anything like that.
People don't travel for years.
Yeah, exactly. Some people will go to the cinema twice a week. And other people will go once every few months, but they still have an unlimited card for Cineworld or whatever it would be. So, there is always, you're always going to have to. It's finding the middle ground. Some people will use it more, some people will use it less, but overall, it should balance itself out, and that's the way you need to look at these sort of things.
I think there's a company. I was listening to the podcast, startup podcast, and there's a guy who is doing this similar thing for airlines. That was the biggest concern. I don't think the tours and activities will have that much of concern because it's. Differently from airlines and transportation flights and stuff, tours and activities is just too different. There's no setting, you cannot overuse it, I think, but there's still a bit of risk of that, especially for if you're a small company, you don't have too much money, too much cash in your hands to pay your suppliers and to your guides. That's one thing about the subscription, but other models can also be.
I think that, in the future, in the near future, I think subscriptions could work very well in terms of, we had Alex Bainbridge talking about autonomous vehicles and sightseeing. If you can imagine a subscription model where you can literally just, Uber, I suppose, is the prime example. You basically just order the vehicle, go into the vehicle and do a tour somewhere. To me, that subscription model in that sort of sense, but because of the tech is becoming more to the forefront in terms of vehicles and things. I think that would be the ideal.
You mentioned Uber, which is also part of the activities or in destination services. I wonder if those kind of companies will ever introduce subscription, because
to me it's ideal. No, I use Uber anywhere I travel. I use Uber all the time. It's because it's so convenient. It's easy to use. I know exactly what I'm paying for. All that sort of stuff.
Get scammed.
Yeah, exactly. And a subscription model, to me, if you're paying so many pounds a month or dollars a month or whatever it be, to then just go book up the taxi, just go off, and you know what's happening. I'm surprised Uber may already be looking at this. I would imagine they would be, but I think something like that would be ideal.
It just came to my mind then when you said Uber. I'm like, I think subscription can be adapted to a lot of places. Will it work? Will it be overused? Or you never know. But.
And again, you're not going to get lots and lots of take-up, but again, it could be enough just to generate income. If you look at the aspect
you can put the upper limit.
Yeah. If you look at the aspect of gift cards, if somebody buys a gift card for someone's birthday or whatever, there's a good percentage that don't even get spent. So that company's made money for nothing, because there's usually a time limit on these things, over a year or whatever it would be. So even just to generate some extra revenue could be a big benefit.
Yeah, I think a lot of tour companies are trying to push the gift cards as well, and more I see from our own suppliers, from their own marketing channels. We see on their Facebook pages and Instagram pages when they push gift cards. And one of the aspects of good gift cards about tours and activities is it replaces the physical product, which is environmentally more friendly. But truth to be told, people still love that physical product, and people still love getting something in their hands. And I've seen in one of the shops in Newcastle that people have. It was an experience company. They were doing like extraordinary high-end experiences, and they had these boxes very nicely designed with pictures. You could give someone experience what's in a box kind of thing, with a code inside.
I think stuff like that is still valuable. I'm a big fan of when you're taking the tour, your tickets and everything else, it should all be on your phone or whatever it is. I hate going to an airport where you've got your ticket on your phone and they still print something out and give it to you. It just annoys me so much. But when you're at the experience and taking the experience, to be given something at the end of that experience that you can then pass on to someone else. It's like, it's a referral tool, it's a sales tool.
Yeah.
To then be, it's a keepsake, or it's something you can then pass on to someone else. To me, that is ideal. That's what every business should technically be doing, to be honest.
Back to the subscription again, we talked a lot about B2C, but B2B, where we are based with B2B platform, can work very well as well. I think if I'm a hotel company, so I think the subscription can be working B2B not only for the buyers, but also for suppliers. It will increase traffic massively. So if I'm a hotel company and if I'm subscribed to the tour company or a platform and I pay monthly fee, what I will try to do to try to sell those tours and try to offer guests more. That means for the suppliers, there are more business coming and then more people are using these services and they get more connected to the hotel. And for the hotel, they, or destination management companies or event companies, whatever, they get kind of access to the supplier without paying a markup or commission, extra commission or extra fees, which happens on most of the OTAs, on most of the platforms, which is you have to do because you have to earn money as a platform. But this will bring the direct versus OTA argument in the middle ground where you have the direct access to the supplier without paying markup, with having direct communication, direct payment, everything is direct, while still using one system where you have all the suppliers in one place, which is helpful for platforms. So I think that's where we are looking right now to adopt the model. We're asking a lot of our hotel partners, we're asking our DMC partners. Obviously the transition not going to be in a day or in a month. I think it will be one or couple hotels adopting the model with trialing and then expanding to other cities, but we're just still asking around, still researching. But B2B can be worked very well, I think. Then obviously there is again, there you have to have availability. If the hotel books and there's no availability, if there's no supplier, that's a problem.
Yeah, then I suppose that if you're doing that could be an app. If there's someone developing an app, if you're doing some sort of membership or subscription, anything like that, to manage all that, so it needs to be something where someone can go on quick and go within. It's always spoken about within tourism to have availability right up to the last minute. You know, if somebody goes, I really want to do a tour, and they're already a subscriber, they can go, there's something available, click, done, off they go. It really needs to be that simple. Though I remember when I was in Barcelona, which I love the city of Barcelona.
Yes.
I went on a bus tour just to get a feel for the city. Took my family along. So at that time, my small son was a year old at the most. I had my 7-year-old daughter at the time, whatever it was, my wife. Having to get a ticket. We ordered the ticket. We thought we could just get straight onto the bus, but then we had to go to another office to then get that voucher. It wasn't a ticket, it was a voucher. To swap that voucher for a ticket, to then wait to get back on the bus in a queue, and I was just like, forever. This is so backwards. It's like, no. Whereas if you had an app, just go bang bang, off you go, done. This is the way tourism needs to go, and that part of it would need to get fixed first before subscription models and things like that can then be.
It comes back again to the availability and everything else, and also it's instant booking. We are actually onboarding. We talked to a couple of companies like Urban Adventures. We're trying to onboard them because they have this instant availability, and we want to onboard more companies who do instant availability. And we already have this feature on the website where people, if you search, you can put instant available confirmation. Because one of the things, our own model is very different. If you want, I can tell you a bit more about it. We are a platform for suppliers, but we only do private tours and activities. So we say we have 3 differentiations. The first is that we only work with the suppliers who offer private tours only, higher end, and they're all verified by us. It means each of them have been talked to, have been tested by us, and there are lots of process going before onboarding them. So that's one thing. But for the second part of it is for suppliers, they don't have calendars. And people said, why you don't have a calendar? Because then people wouldn't know who to book. Because our model, which I've learned a new word at ITB, which is RFP, request for proposal. I think we're the first company, I'm not sure, but I think we're the first company bringing request for proposal model to tours and activities. So if you're a hotel, if you're a destination management company or events company, and you need a tour guide to do, or a supplier to do your tour in a customized itinerary, you basically put all the details in, put in your budget, and the moment you say submit, it goes to all local suppliers and they bid on your offer.
Wow.
Which is kind of a very different approach to the industry. That itself is kind of a different, and we try to solve the availability problem that way. So we say, okay, it doesn't matter who does your tour, they're all good.
Yeah.
We've tested all of them.
I suppose it's a bit like, and I'm talking about a different sector here, but I suppose it's a bit like, Check a Trade, for example, website where if you're looking for a tradesman, you just put your details in and it goes out in front and they all come to you and say, right, I can do this for you, I can do this. So
exactly.
I like that idea in tourism actually.
So we started that. So the way it worked, when we started in 2016, we got inspired by Airbnb. We said, oh, no one does Airbnb for tours. Just realized my research was poor. Because a couple months later, Airbnb bought a company called Trip for Real. I'm like, Trip for Real? And then I realized there's a company called Viable, Trip, and there's so many companies. I said, okay, that's not working. So we started looking for something else. At that time, a company called Spectra. Spectra is a big DMC, mostly focused on events and corporate incentive trips. And they sent us a request. And they said, we found you on Google, which was weird. I don't know how they found us. And I was happy. I said, well, let me come to your office to see. And we chatted, and then I realized, okay, these guys are looking for always tour guides and stuff. And then Radisson Hotels started send a booking randomly. We worked as a normal OTA, B2B OTA. We were just an OTA, but we were targeting B2B. But sooner or later, we realized for 2 years, we've been processing bookings. 80% of the bookings comes through the emails. I'm like, why don't you book through the website? I said, you know what, I have to go to the office. So I went to all the offices of our partners, and Jack Travel, Spectra, whatever, Radisson Hotels. And they said, look, we love your tours and activities, but we don't want to scroll. We don't want to put the filters and just scroll. We want to say, this is our budget, this is the time and date, and this is what we do.
Yep.
And we just want to find the right tour guide. And I said, okay, that's what we can do. And that's why we introduced RFP model, request for proposal, where they send, and it goes to all local suppliers. And suppliers is easy. Through your mobile phone, you don't have to log in. They just say accept, reject. And for both sides, we made this live ticket, which is another thing we brought. You don't need to sign up. Through the email-enabled live ticket, you can have still direct communication. We are very proud to have. We never intervene in between supplier and buyer. And there were lots of cases the buyer said, look, we just need to, it says something urgent, can you give us the phone number? With the supplier's permission, we shared the phone number, so they can have direct communication. That's why we want to get rid of these commissions as well. We want them to have more direct, more interconnected communication, where we are just helping them connect, and then the rest is on them.
Well, it sounds like ideal, because there's without going into specifics, there's a big movement at the moment for tours and activity operators and suppliers and that type of thing to try and, because all the money that they're generating, well, a lot of the money that they're generating is going off to the OTA's bank accounts somewhere on the Cayman Islands or something like that. Whereas it's trying to keep that money and all that income within the ecosystem, trying to help the destinations, trying to help all the other businesses within that. And I think for tours and activities to survive, I think it needs to go down that route, or at least 90% of it could go down that route. So for what you were saying, or building up more of what you're saying, I think would work well with that, to be honest.
And another thing with that is we're transparent with our commissions to buyers and suppliers. And we say, we will pay you, that's the day, that's the amount. Most of the times we get paid late, because in the TMC model or DMC model, business travel or incentive travels, or even large group travels, they come, basically every B2B, they pay you at the end of the month or 30-day, 45-day notice. We say suppliers we're going to pay the next day as soon as the tour happens, because we cannot wait. Make suppliers a small business, they cannot just wait. We are a small startup, but we're betting on getting more investment. Whereas for small local tours and activities company, they cannot wait for 45 days, 30 days to get paid. So, and I think that's another thing with being a responsible middleman. That's what we are. Everyone is. That's all the OTAs are, is to help each other to understand. And even if you lose money, just get the small businesses, because that's the trust building there, and that's important, as you say.
One of the things about going back slightly to the subscription model is, it just sort of came in my mind there. I think what would really work well with that is if it wasn't just based on one operator, one supplier. If it was like say you get 10 or 12, or I suppose it's a bit like one of these cards that you get that you can basically eat at the various restaurants, but it's one membership card type thing. If you get different tour operators and different providers.
That's what I was thinking. So when you said subscription and Greyline, and you gave the tour company names, the reason we want to do it as a middleman or as an OTA is because we have suppliers. You
have lots,
Yeah, we have lots of suppliers.
So even if they just said, right, it's only one specific product that can be on this membership, but you had many of them, then it could be like someone could just decide, I want to do a food tour this month or this week or this.
Get Your Guide can do it because we Get Your Guide's branded tours. They have their own branded tours. The companies I think they can do it, pull it off is the Walks, Urban Adventures, Get Your Guide with their branded tours, with locals with their branded tours. What was the other one? There was the Walks and there was City Wonders. I think they have their own tours. They just have different guides or operators who do it, but they have the brand tours, and if they can do the same subscription model, they can grow fast.
So all that it just basically builds up a bank of money, and everyone gets a share of it, that sort of stuff. And that's
there are lots.
I'm excited about that, to be honest. To me, that's that if someone does that and it does it right, it could be phenomenal. So if we can raise investment and get bigger teams, so I can focus on those things and not run from trade show to trade show and try then follow up emails. But I think there are lots of, because the space is very new. When we talk to investors, we say, look, tours and activities is extremely new. Hotels themselves is only last 30 years, since 90s, early 2000s, and then tours and activities is even newer than that. Although some companies, I think Get Your Guide and stuff are from 2008. Airbnb, it's quite a 10 years now, but it's just right now it's getting attention that it deserves. So people should expect much more innovation in the industry. Things are going to move on a lot faster than what people think.
Technology. It's not only technology, it's business models will change, the operations, the logistics, the content itself will change, how it's presented. BackBy, it's an amazing example. I don't know how no one saw that.
I know.
I thought TechSoft and Fair Harbor and others were addressing that problem, but I didn't realize that they are actually just only focused on availability and reservation. I thought they're also focused on content. But apparently it is just BackBy will bring something different.
I think BackBy, and we're hopefully going to be doing a video with Rod and Christian from BackBy shortly. But what they're bringing, just to give you a sort of general overview, it's a, in layman terms, it's a content management system that allows you to upload all your tour content, that type of thing, but then that gets distributed out to so many other platforms. But so you only need to manage it once and it goes out to everywhere else. And
content distribution.
Content distribution. So I think that'd be.
I think the challenge is there. If you go to different platforms, us, Get Your Guide, Airbnb, anyone, all the requirements for content are different. Some of them have different limitations for the words. The fields are different. So I think that the biggest challenge for BackBy will be how you bring all that.
Well, I believe that's what they are trying. We know they're obviously integrating many APIs, but they're actually saying, like, this title is the same as whatever it's called in another platform, and they're actually trying to do it. So it's obviously going to be a logistical nightmare. But if they do it and they are doing it, it's going to be incredible.
If I was a supplier, and what I would love to see, one dashboard says, okay, these are the main fields that are present in every single OTA platform. So if you fill this, it will be in every. So if you want Get Your Guide, these are additional fields. If you want Klook, these are additional fields, and then more, and then you know what to manage and what to change. I think one of the things, what we do as a pricing wise, for example, we have, I think it's dynamic pricing. I'm still trying to get my head around it, what people exactly mean, because I've heard many things. I think it's based on the season and time of the year.
It can be various things, but yes, seasonality is part of it. It's if people crack it, great, but it's been able to, it's dynamic pricing in terms of different platforms as well, that type of thing. So it's.
That's another thing, because you distribute to different platforms.
No, it's. I imagine it's a way to try and combat commissions as well. It's like if a price is on a website, on that company's website, it might be slightly cheaper or lower because they don't have any commission to pay compared to a TripAdvisor or a Get Your Guide and that type of thing. So, for me, then and I'll get your opinion in a second. But for me, the next big thing in terms of that side of stuff is the dynamic pricing. To me, that's something that really needs to get sort of looked at. But for me, it's what the things like TripAdvisor and that are trying to crack is multi-day tours as well. That's something they've been trying to do for a while. If they crack that.
Isn't it TourRadar doing that?
TourRadar is the only one who has done it well. I know the guys at TourRadar quite well. They were one of the first ones to do it. They do it really, really well. TripAdvisor and all that are now trying to play catch up because they actually realise, oh wait a minute, we should really be in this space as well. And I think they're trying to look at another avenue of generating more money.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like it's get your guided and everything else. They're looking at other ways to keep their investors happy. But in multi-day tours, I think is going to be the next big thing that they're going to try and look at. But Tour Radar certainly has a head start in that sort of aspect. They do a very good job of it.
We don't list purposefully multi-day tours because we realise then you need to list accommodation as part of the multi-day tours. You need to transportation. That brings total different liability, total different insurance. We don't list it. But what happens with our B2B partners, DMCs especially, or MICE organizers, they tend to use our request for proposal platform, and they choose because we have an option for multi-day tours. And they have just basically say, we provide accommodation, we provide transportation, we provide lunch and dinner for the tour guide, and we provide XYZ. And that is actually a majority of our B2B business coming from, especially for the Highlands, for example, in Scotland, 3 days, 2 days. And the guide knows, okay, I'm booked for 3 days, so I don't, out of months, if I'm booked 5 times of this kind of tours, half of my month is full already, so they're very happy, they get good money. So we also approach multi-day tours and activities, but from total different perspective.
That's harder because it tends to, most multi-days, or a lot of multi-days tend to be more bespoke. It's not something you can really book online for the most part, so they're looking at quite bespoke itineraries and all that sort of stuff. So it is a harder model to crack. But I think if you had enough product on a page, you can say, right, I want to do this, and you allow the user to select the various things that they want, and that creates the price and goes, it's almost like building a proposal online and just going, this is what I want, and off you pay. If someone cracks that.
I think the interview you did, I watched it last week, I'm not sure when you did it, with the guy from multi-day tour company that has offices in Germany as well.
What, Max Adventure?
Yeah. I think I like that. I looked at the website. They have the radio tours.
What they do is they do have tours you can book online, especially if there's certain products like the West Highland Way, for example, stuff like you can easily book that online. But they also offer, what they've found, and what Neil said in that video, is they found that because of the multi-day tours, they still get people who phone up, and they have to do it that way as well. It's not really something you can book online. So they have both. They do it for both one. And Neil was actually really smart. Earlier on in his business, he did guided tours as well. Scrapped that, and it's all self-guided stuff now, and that's why his business just skyrocketed. So he basically was ahead of the curve at that sort of step. But in terms of before we finish up, in terms of your own business, what's the future of Get Guided, and what do you see the future of tourism yourself, and what do you see is going to happen over the next few years?
I think tourism is quite challenging. When we were discussing before the video, one of the most simple challenges is, for example, terminology. I've hired a consultant to help me with work part-time from time to time. It's basically on a self-employed basis. Basically, whenever I need her, I just say, look, there's some work to be done. Can you help me out? I cannot manage it. The hardest part was to explain her how the industries operate, because I have like a bunch of cards from trade shows, and then you look at the company, it says XYZ DMC. You go on their website, they are basically doing guided tours, and then their DMCs were actual DMCs, but they try to push their own tours to different OTAs. I'm like, but you don't have your own tour guides. You don't check your tour guides. You basically say, oh, this is Barcelona city tour, and then I book it, but then you try to go and find someone to do that tour, hopefully. And then there's obviously tour operators are getting mad because they say you have to be, if you're a tour guide, you have to be called tourist guide, which is different from tour guide. So it's lots of terminology, but it's very challenging. Tours and activities. I think it has to go through the same route as hotels and flights. Lots of standardization, lots of simplification. Don't know how it's going to happen.
No, it needs to. If the industry is going to move forward in any sort of way, it has to be more standardized.
Like in any startups, if you're not, it's not scalable just yet. You have to standardize and simplify the process and have the set processes, so it can be scalable to all over the world. But tours and activities, it's growing, obviously. I don't believe statistics too much where people say people book a lot of experiences more than everything else. I think that term, first of all, is only based on US market mostly. And second is the word experiences is used very broadly. So a lot of startups using that word for their own tours and activities doesn't necessarily mean that experiences will mean the same. So I think then again we need to look deeper into the industries, what experiences really mean, and a lot of reports have to change. That's another thing that will change from the industry. but it's going in a good direction. For us, what we're trying to be, we are trying to be a world's leading B2B platform for custom and private tourism activities, especially what we call it, this RFP model, we call it the reverse marketplace. We want to be that, to bring in that. We believe Scotland is truth has to be told, Scotland is a very small ecosystem, not only for tourism but for startups and investment, and we cannot compete with Get Your Guide, with Cloak, and they can grow very quickly. Our goal is to be decent size and hopefully then continue growing under wings of larger corporation, because I believe the idea is that it's the right idea. We are one of the, if not the first one doing this, but we are talking to some big companies. Hopefully in the future, if they will be interested, we can be part of it and then grow and bring something new to the industry. From the buyer's perspective, from supplier perspective, we want to be the most flexible platform for suppliers, where they can reach hotels, where they can reach MICE organizers, like total different market than they normally wouldn't. Because if you're an Edinburgh tour guide company or experiences company, you're not gonna try to find MICE organizers or outgoing travel agencies in California and try to reach them. So we want to do that process, we negotiate, bringing those sides together. That's our goal. But while doing that, we want to be sustainable and also ethical in terms of processes and business operations, and make sure that no one is. We always pay supplier first. We always get paid on the right terms as well. So that's our goal. And then after hopefully a couple of years exit, we have more ideas for the tourism. But I want to just keep working on lots of different new ideas.
Excellent.
And change the market, hopefully.
Change the market. Excellent. So if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
They can come to our website. They can add me on LinkedIn. It's my name is Cavid Nadirov. I think you can put it in the description.
I'll be there somewhere.
So they can. I love LinkedIn, so they can get in touch with the LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is good because you keep it updated. It's better than emails. LinkedIn, my email, you will put in there as well. And then just come to our website. I would love to grab a coffee or have a Skype call with anyone, supplier, buyer, investor, anyone who is interested. And I can't share my expertise or anything because I'm open for discussion. I'm in industry for only 3 years, so I have lots to learn, and definitely open to hear from people. But I'm willing to have open discussions.
From what it sounds and from what I know, the ideas that you're bringing are fairly unique in terms of what you do and stuff like that. So even though you've only been in here for 3 or 4 years, I think you are bringing something new. So I think it's worth having a discussion with you.
Maybe that's a good thing, not being from the industry before, because you see from total different.
That's what they see when it comes to marketing. It's like sometimes you have to look at other industries to see what they're doing, to sort of see what you can bring in to enhance the tourism industry. So it's part of branding, it's part of marketing, and that's what every business should be doing anyway. It's like if you're running your own campaigns, marketing campaigns, don't just look at your competitors within your own industry. Look at what other people are doing. It's like get ideas from them. So, definitely. But no, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And so in the next digital tourism show, we'll hopefully have another guest speaker. And hopefully it's going to be the guys from BackBy. So we're going to see if we can bring that up next. But remember. Do you think subscription models are going to work within tourism? Do you have your own ideas on how that could work within tourism? No, leave comments. No, post up on our groups, post up on LinkedIn, or our YouTube channels, Facebook channels. Love to hear what you guys think. So until the next video, I'll see you soon.